Hello, my name is Jaden Young. I take American History at Alamance Community College. I don't know the exact number thing or whatnot, but today I'm going to be discussing two prominent figures in African American leadership during the late 19th and early 20th century, Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois, and their different philosophies on achieving social progress for African Americans to continue to spark the discussion about race, education, and activism. We're going to start off with Booker T. Washington views first. Basically, he believed the best way for African Americans to achieve social progress was through vocational training and economic self-reliance. Washington famously advised, and I'm going to quote here, "Cast down your bucket where you are," end quote. Meaning that African Americans would work with, that not would, but should work within their communities to develop the practical skills to improve their economic conditions. For an example of working within would be somebody doing something in your community and then they're doing something else. You develop the skills a lot and everybody kind of rotates out-ish, in my opinion at least. He also founded the Tuskegee Institute, where he emphasized the importance of industrial education, and he also argued that African Americans should focus on acquiring trades. Trades are a big thing nowadays. People usually say after high school you get a trade or go to college or do whatever you're going to do. So the trade part I do agree with because trades do help and you can make a lot of money from it. Also, that also led to economic stability for a lot of people. His approach was one of accommodation, basically suggesting that African Americans should accept segregation for the time being and work to improve their own circumstances. As in, if you live in a sundown town, for example, work within the hours that you can. Don't try to go later. That's kind of working in between-ish. And now we're going to go to W.B. Du Bois' views. And in my opinion, in contrast, W.B. Du Bois has had a very different perspective. He argued for immediate social change and civil rights. He also believed that a select group of African Americans, which he called the talented 10th, should lead charge for equality and higher education. W. Du Bois, I'm not going to keep saying his name, I'm just going to say Du Bois. Du Bois opposed Washington's accommodation-like stance, advocating basically what he would want. He wants people to stand up for what they know is right. He wants people to have the luxuries that other people have. He wants everybody basically to be the same. That's really what it was. But he also co-founded the NAACP, which he aimed to fight for civil rights through advocacy, legal action, and protest. More famously around now, the NAACP is being used for more racial times, racial bias, and other things like that, as it's meant to be used. Now you might be wondering, how do these two compare and contrast? Like I said in the beginning, that's not George Washington. I'm so sorry. Washington focused on vocational training and gradual change, as in he wanted it to just build up over time, and at a certain point in time, you're like, hey, we are all on one accord apparently now. While Du Bois pushed for immediate civil rights and higher education because in certain parts of the South, and I'm from the deep South of Tupelo, Mississippi, so I've heard stories from my great-grandparents that they could only go to my great-great-grandparents, they could only go to a certain place at a certain time, and even then they couldn't finish their education. They did not have high school diplomas. But Washington was all about self-improvement within and just changing the existing social structure, whereas Du Bois just wanted to challenge it completely and build it down, tear it up, make sure it's the right thing this time. Both figures had a very great impact on the African American community. Both of their studies reflect on broader debates about the best path to social progress.